So most of the documents that should be reviewed should probably be reviewed prior to closing, because those are going to be the things, like I said, the restrictions on the property. You can't have chickens and that's what you're wanting to do, and you need to know those things prior to surveys. When it comes to the closing time, you obviously want to make sure that all the numbers are correct. We try to get those out, of course, prior to closing so that we can get everybody involved, give them time to look it all over. And then at closing, it depends on if there's a lender involved or not on the buy side. Sellers' packages are usually pretty small, 10 to 15 documents. We obviously want them to review, making sure that the spellings and everything are correct of their names, because that's what's transferring the title. And then, of course, just making sure that the documents are correct, that the figures are correct. And so those are things that they'll be reviewing at closing. If it's a cash transaction, the buyer's package is very minimal. If it's a lender involved, then it's quite lengthy, depending on who the lender is, and if it's a hybrid closing where they do some e-signing. It does, how big the package is, for sure. But those documents are all created by a Texas attorney. They have to be in our area. So anything filed of record has to be done by a licensed Texas attorney. So that's where some of that comes in. So bulk of the documents are something that are verbiage that is promulgated, meaning it is set by the state. There's nothing that can change with that. But within those documents, perhaps like the note or the deed of trust, those are documents where there are a few pieces that they just want to verify. Again, are spellings correct, that the numbers look correct on those. On the note, that the interest rate is correct, their first payment letter, first payment date is correct. So those are things that I like to point over and go through in closing, just to make sure that those items look appropriate. So the deed and that transfers title, so the deed of trust, the original, actually goes back to the lender, but the deed itself, along with the title policy, is sent to them usually within about 30 days.
30 days.
Yes,
Okay.
And then they'll have that ready. If they need it prior to that for any reason, a lot of people need it for certain utilities or something like that, then we'll send it to them as soon as it's recorded. Our policy department usually doesn't take the full 30 days. They usually get it turned around pretty quick, but per guidelines, we have 30 days to issue those documents.
Okay.
So that's kind of a two-part question, because the deed is usually recorded the day of closing or the day after, depending on the time of closing and when everything goes. So in our particular office, we have 2 runs that happen every day. So in the morning and in the afternoon, we have a courier that is taking those documents to our post-closing department to get those recorded. Now, when I first started in the industry, we did have to go down to the county clerk and get it recorded, but now they offer e-recording in a lot of the different counties. And so we have an account with e-record, we upload those documents and they're recorded right then. So it's usually a pretty quick process that happens. And then as far as reporting goes, so the county clerk may have it already done, but the appraisal district does not pull up those county deeds on a regular basis. I mean, they do on a regular basis, but not a daily basis. So they may pull it every 4 weeks or every 6 weeks, but that's when the appraisal district changes.
Okay. So
and then the tax office goes off of the appraisal district. And so that's been a little delayed to 6 weeks or so that information is updated. But again, if the client notices that it hasn't been updated, they can always give us a call. We'll send the deed directly to the county and ask them to go ahead and update the record right away.
So I'll hop in on this one, make sure my voice was working. So I actually did new construction for 8 years prior to being in title, and I sold most recently in Prosper, in Lakes of Prosper and Wildwood Estates, and actually sold those neighborhoods out for a builder. The prices then, this is only, I don't know, 4 years ago, something like that, have doubled since then. So I think Prosper is kind of its own little niche in itself, but we've seen so much growth in such a short amount of time. The Gates of Prosper 1 opened up, and almost immediately Gates of Prosper 2 was already in effect as well.
Yeah.
So I think I grew up in the area, so when I was a kid, Frisco was what is Frisco,
right.
And then Plano was the hot spot. But as time goes on, things are like pushing north and north more and more, because more and more people are moving here and they need more space, or they want more space. So I think we're in a unique situation here that we're growing really quickly, but with that, 2021 and 2020 were an anomaly for us because homes were going on the market and then going off immediately for a ton over asking in cash and sight unseen and everything waived. Now we're seeing days on market going up to a whopping 19 days, which in the grand scheme of things, it's still better than normal.
Correct. Leveling out.
Correct. Days on market are longer. Homes aren't going, for as much over asking. I've seen a few price reductions and stuff like that, but it's still such a good place to be. A report came out of the top 10 cities to move to in the entire U.S., and 5 of the top 10 were in the Dallas area, with Prosper being in the top 5. So it's still a really hot market, but if you look at 20 and 21 compared to now, it's not really apples to apples. That was more of an outlier than a typical trend. One of my favorite sayings is date the rate but marry the home. So if you find the home that's right for you, you can always refinance at some point in time and stuff like that, but don't lose the home because of the interest rates. They fluctuate, and typically real estate is cyclical, so rates go up and rates come down, but if you find the right home for you, the recommendation is to get the home that you want and then, refinance down the road if you need to and stuff like that. So I've seen, like I said, home reductions in price. I think some people were pricing their homes to sell based on what 2021 was doing, trying to catch that boat that had already sailed, So I think that prices are still going to be high or higher than they were in the past, but they're not going to be as astronomical as they were.
Sure.
But it's still a great area that's going to continue to grow, and as it grows more, the value will go up. So I think getting in sooner is better than later, Well, and especially if people don't know much about North Texas in general, I feel like it is its own just beast in itself, because what happens nationwide doesn't always affect North Texas just because so many people are moving here from different states. A lot of corporate offices are coming here. So I think you can't look at the nation's growth and recession and then compare it to ours. You know what I mean? So we're blessed in a lot of ways for sure. And I'm happy to be here.
We're so blessed to live here.
Yeah, we are,
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Should we go first?
Ladies first.
Sure. Okay, so my name is Andrea Tigner. I am a licensed escrow officer with the Republic titled Prosper branch. We've got branches all over North Dallas area, but we've got foreclosures in our office. I'll let Kyle go into a little bit more detail about that. This next year will be my 20th year in title insurance. I started when I was very young, but I did. I kind of moved around a little bit in the industry. So I've been in title since I was first moved to Texas. I was originally from New Mexico, so moved to Texas, got into title insurance while I was trying to go finish school, and then I was like, this is amazing, I'm going to stick with this. Real estate's never a dull moment in real estate, so I've just always loved it. And so I started kind of more in the commercial sector, really wanted to get into the residential side just because I love working with the clients, the first-time home buyers, even if it's a challenging situation, a divorce or a death or whatever, I like being able to be there with those clients, assisting our agents through that process and hopefully making the closing either a joyful experience or not as tearful as it could be in a hard situation. So I love people, I love being around them, and I just love helping people. So I feel like this is a way that I can give back not only to my clients but to our community with trying to make a very stressful process as smooth as possible. So that's where my heart is, and that's kind of what I aim for. So, but we have an amazing office. Our office is only a year old. It's absolutely beautiful. 3 closing rooms and a fantastic training room where we can do classes, we can hold team meetings, anything like that. So we're very big on education and trying to make sure that our agents are getting as many resources as they need. So our main resources, us as escrow agents, and then we've got marketing and sales, which I'll let Kyle speak to. And then we also have attorneys. So we have 7 attorneys on staff that are available to our clients and verbiage in contracts, stuff like that. We've got that available for people to bounce things off of. So they never represent the clients in the transaction, but they can always be a good voice for making sure that your clients are taken care of and that things are done properly per the law. So it's great, yeah, and I'll let him speak a little bit more to the office. And
So flies love me, apparently.
yeah, I don't know what's happening.
I don't know. So I'm Kyle Kent. I'm the business development / sales, marketing. I wear a lot of different hats in the industry, or in my role, but
including a fly hat.
Including a fly hat, yes. So a little bit about Republic. Like, we are only in North Dallas. So a lot of title companies are nationwide, but we are just focusing on North Dallas, and we have the highest market share. Yes. The highest market share in Collin County at close to 25%. So that means 1 out of every 4 transactions that close in Collin County are with a Republic title office. We started as a small satellite office, not much bigger than this space, or actually smaller than this space, and then outgrew that very, very quickly and had to move into a larger space. So now we're at Preston and Prosper Trail, great location. But about me, I grew up in Rowlett, so that's a little south of here. I'm directionally
Southeast.
Southeast of here, yes. And I'm Texas born and raised. And I've seen so much growth happen here, and I love that I'm a part of this team. And I think that Republic has a unique stance because we are very relational. We are not transactional by any means. Like Andrea said earlier, fees and stuff are dictated by the state. So what you pay here, you pay for A, B, C, and D. So what it boils down to is the relationship that you have and the customer service that you get. And I would put us against anybody when it comes to those. And I'm just really blessed to be a part of this team. So, and I appreciate you having us on. So
please let me know, and we can definitely do a more detailed video on one topic and specifically if we want to do that. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. You bet. All right.